take on the road and by push the beer with a taste as smooth as it's made.
Hi everyone, welcome to SpeedWeek. I'm Bob Newman. And I'm Larry Newman. Major divisions opened their 1986 campaigns last weekend, and all those races in the next half hour. In Daytona. The IMSA 24 Hours presented one of the most comprehensive U.S. racing history. Ron Kendrick reports on IMSA's headliners, the exotic GTP cars.
As the field began to roll down pit road from the start of the Sunday 24-hour race, the full-setting quartet of Sarl Vandy and Willie Gallivanti Jr. was noticeably absent from the front row. In a morning warm-up session, a vibration was detected at with each practice lap. Car owner Rick Hendrick to make a difficult decision to withdraw the car from the event.
Too expensive, and the lives are too valuable to get out there with that kind of vibration and take a chance, especially a car on the front row that could take out 10, 11 other cars. So we made the decision, and it's the toughest one I've ever made in motorsports.
That set up an expected Porsche battle for the lead. Early on, the Rob Dyson, Drake Olson, Bryce Cobb 962 was at the front, but the team watched the lead disappear after a lengthy pit stop for brake repairs following a spin. Into the night hours, the 962 of Jim Busby, Darren Brassfield, Derek Warwick, and Jochen Haas, who had moved over from the team car, held the lead. They were being chased by 3 other 962s and one of the Jaguars that was running in the top 5. The lead changed hands in the second half of the event, but late in the race, mechanical problems spelled heartbreak for the A.J. Foy team. Last year's winners had an 8-lap lead, but a stuck throttle forced a long pit stop that enabled Al Hobart, Derek Bell, and Al Unser Jr. to catch, then pass Foy to take the checkered flag.
We earned it. Everybody in the team, we made a few setup mistakes and a few preparation mistakes, but what I was proud of, my guys got seasoned today. We made the repairs without making any mistakes, and that really is what a 24-hour race is all about.
SpeedWeeks will continue, and the next racing action will be the Busch Clash and the ARCA 200. For ESPN SpeedWeek, I'm Ron Kendrick reporting from the Daytona International Speedway.
Veteran drivers like Derek Bell called this the toughest 24 hours in the world, even over Le Mans. 2 heavy crashes, no injuries. Talented Hans Stuck in Bob Aiken's Coke machine, and Jan Lammers destroyed one of the BF Goodrich cars. Jim Busby shared his other BFG Porsche with Formula One's Derek Warwick and Darren Brassfield. They led 339 laps. Then a loosened seat cost them lap speed and perhaps the race in the last 2 hours. There were, of course, 4 divisions, the scaled-down GTPs, Camel Lights, won by Florida Mazda Argo team of Frank Rubino, Ray Mummery, and John Schneider. GTO, American Production Sports Cars, became an 11th hour face-off between Mustangs. Lee Mueller, Maurice Hasse, and former promoter Lanny Hester leading here, then winning over the Melting Pot team of Olympian Bruce Jenner, go-karter Scott Pruitt, and world star Klaus Ludwig. The highly touted GTO team of NASCAR regulars had a Comet-like, if not successful, debut. Elliott, Rudd, Kyle Penny, and Schrader led their class early but didn't finish. It's not enough that the Mazda RX-17 Highball wins the sprint races. Normal team members Amos Johnson, Jack Dunham, and Dennis Shaw prevail again as the GTU victor here.
The Winter Nationals in Pomona, California began NHRA's 1986 drag racing campaign. This may look like an Indy car with enclosed engine and side pods, but it's Gary Holmesby's new Streamliner Top Bueller. His is the first of what could be 3 in the league before year's end. It didn't last long, though, at Pomona. In a burn-off during qualifying, boom, the engine explodes, and his weekend is over. Shirley Muldowney was in her first national event since injuries in 1984. In the first round, she's paired with Don Garlitz. Shirley is off the line first, but she, too, has trouble and loses the match. Garlitz would later lose, too. Another near disaster involved Ed McCullough's funny car. In a run with Dale Poole-Lee, Ed's Olds is blown apart by an engine explosion. In the Pro Stock Finals, Warren Johnson came close, but Frank Iaconio took top honors this day. The funny car final saw Tim Gross in a Pontiac beat John Foss for Gross's first NHRA win. Top Fuel final saw the youngster 24-year-old Darrell Gwynn beat the old veteran Connie Kaluna.
By the way, the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company will pay a $25,000 bonus to the nation's combined top pro funny car driver this year.
Coming up, Nish, too hot to handle,
while Collins steams the Copper's kettle.
twisting roads, punishing trails, the open road. Each road demands a different tire to take it on. And with BF Goodrich TA radials, you've got all the different tires you need to take on those roads. The most complete line of high-performance radials in the world. The BF Goodrich TA line, built for you to take on the road.
Hey, Pete, going to town with us? Go ahead. But you have no trouble. We can take care of it.
A day off is something real special. What so's a good neighbor?
Going into town with us, Pete?
Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream. For a taste as smooth as its name. Push. Head for the beer. For the mountains.
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. It'll be an expressway to heroes.
One of the most prestigious annual short track pavement events takes place each February on the mile of Phoenix International Raceway. The so-called sprint cars, actually unwinged front-engine open-wheelers, one of 4 types competing. Rich Vogler and Howard Stone's former USAC pavement sprinter raced the pole. Kenny Hamilton and his Pink Lady chased early. Salt Lake City produced almost 1/3 of the starting field. Dave Adamson crashed on lap 1. Dick Adamson qualified 4th and dueled early with Gary Bettenhausen. And A.J. Foyt protege Mike Nish executed the most thrilling ride of the day down the front stretch after tangling with the turbine of local Steve Bolin. Gary B. made it all the way to 2nd, but this was a race of attrition. Vogler smoked out, later to return with lost laps. Hamilton brakes, and a late backstretch incident triggered by T.J. Nish's blown engine sidelines Jack Bachman Jr. and the Midwest Bob Fry. Mike Bliss from Milwaukee, Oregon, who was used to running his sprinter against supermods, held smooth his aerodynamic upright and won.
As was the case in Daytona, the pole sitter for the super-modified portion of the Copper was unable to start. George Snyder broke the track record at 148.3 miles an hour, good enough to make the middle of the IndyCar field in 1984. But the engine blew on the car, and he couldn't start the race. 19 cars did take the green, with Billy Vukovich III, the early leader. His first win came here at PIR last fall. Mid-Indy and now NASCAR driver Chet Phillip took command in the middle stages. Al Bione had an overheating problem that turned into a fire down the backstretch. The story of this race was tires. Wally Pancratz came in with a blistered right front during the yellow. Chet Phillip retired with overheating problems. Gary Bettenhausen, the only driver to start all 4 races here, was in, but later returned to finish 4th. With Phillip gone, Billy III was in the lead again, and Dad was nervously watching from the pits. This late yellow looked serious, but Mark Krause wasn't injured. Paul Durant had the horsepower to pass Billy, and Durant held the lead the rest of the way. Pancratz got around Pookie late and finished 2nd.
Johnny Parsons Jr. on the midget pole, and that just about sums it up. Many of his top competitors dropped out, but it might not have made a difference. Vogler and Bettenhausen recorded 0 laps. San Jose's Randy Rothweiler recorded 0 turns. Chuck Gurney only made 4 circuits. Eastern Stars Bob Ciccone, Nick Fenaro Jr., and Colorado's Randy Roberts a good go at it for 2nd, with Roberts winning out. While Parsons embarrassed everybody, the racing was excellent throughout the field. 2, 3, 4 abreast action in this strong field that included Jeff Palms, Robbie Flock, Tommy Estone, Stan Fox, Jimmy Sills, Tommy White, and Ken Nichols.
The stock car race was the longest of the 4, 40 laps, but saw a lot of good racing. The red car that sat on the pole and led early was driven by Californian Jim Thurkettle. It's Gary Bettenhausen in car 7 in turn 2, bringing out the first yellow. He'll return, though, and finish the race. The man on the move here is Gary Collins, winner of the stock portion last fall. Randy Becker oiled the front stretch and first turn pretty good enough, in fact, for a red flag. On the restart, it's still Thurkettle, but a 2-car crash took out Roman Kalsinski. Jim Vernon in 37 continued. Gary Ballou with a new hood because of a crash the day before pitted and lost a lap. Butch Miller, who had been chasing Thurkettle all day, finally took the lead in turn 2. Thurkettle pitted and would later drop out. On the restart from another yellow, Collins passes Miller after a rear-end nudge and wins again. Butch spins in turn 4, but battles back to finish second.
A couple of notes on drivers that were in the Copper. Butch Miller will run at least 5 Winston Cup races this year, and Chet Phillip has moved from Texas to North Carolina in preparation for a NASCAR season.
And Rich Vogler will be Johnny Rutherford's teammate at Indy this year.
In our next segment, down but not out in Texas.
And bogged down but rarin' in California.
This is Leach Leasing. One of Fresno's oldest and most respected new car leasing and return lease sales facilities just got even better. Newly remodeled, yes, but with the same professionals that have gained the respect and trust of Leach Leasing customers for many years. And with the kind of money-saving specials you've come to expect, like this. The best selection, the best price, the best people at Leach Leasing.
Did you know you could actually order a pre-owned automobile at Leach Leasing?
Now here's a story about a man named Dave. Makes his living at a store that'll really let you save. Save on a tire you'd be proud to own. It's a great tire called Bridgestone. A tire so different you can feel it when you drive. But that's a claim they didn't have to contrive. But now for the story Dave really wants told. He's got prices so low, he won't be undersold. When you're buying tires, it'd be a surefire pity if first you don't stop and see Dave at Tire City. Tire City's on McKinley. Just call him on the phone or look for that big yellow sign that says Bridgestone.
Some travel arrangements made through Eastern Airlines, the leader in service to all the Americas, serving over 140 cities in 23 countries and one magic kingdom. At Eastern, we earn our wings every day.
San Jose's Steve Eklund ought to buy stock in Houston's Astrodome. Come to think of it, maybe he already owns some. The AMA season began last weekend under the world's first 7th domed wonder of the world, and Eklund scored his 5th career victory here. You got that? From his very top starting position, that's the glistening gold spokes of Ted Booty darting down to the lead. The big guns of defending champ Bubba Schubert, Ricky Graham, and Doug Chandler didn't make the final. California's Aaron Hill, number 23, and Texas's Sammy Sweet played 60. 2 new names running at the front are introducing themselves to Booty. Neither will finish. Sweet looks like a winner, but eventually, Vortex mounted Eklund is passing Hill for the lead. Hill is perseverant, but the 79 champ Eklund is going to win on the 4th different brand he's raced under the dome. It's Steve's 3rd win in the last 5 years in Houston. He has won both short track and TT steeplechase, but this year's win on the very short oval. Sunday's weekend capper, Supercross. Danny Storbeck surprised his 250cc foes with this hole shot. Though from the start, it was obvious Rick Johnson, number 5, was going to be a factor. Johnson's Honda sails to the lead with champ and very confident Jeff Ward in hot pursuit. David Bailey starts 5th, and though he runs competitive, never really mentions the lead, he does get 2nd. The story continues up front. Johnson cruises on, but Ward remains in sight. Then on the very last lap, Rick jumps into a hill, and over she goes. Ward passes by and wins the race almost casually. Bailey went past, and Johnson, who showed just this brief glimmer of disappointment, had dusted himself off and trudged to 3rd.
Many riders chose the Astrodome over round 5 of the Golden State Motocross Nationals. Last weekend, that series visited Marysville, California. With 250cc series points leader Jeff Ward absent from the lineup, the field was wide open. This second moto saw John Nelson on Suzuki number 3 pace the field for a while, but then Brian Manley on a Honda took command and swept both motos despite a less than ideal track caused by heavy rain.
It got some deep grooves in some places and there's water going through some places, but it wasn't extremely bad because the water kind of runs off the surface pretty good. And I just figured everybody had to ride the same course, so it was pretty good.
Nelson, with a 5th and 2nd, finished 2nd overall. Sweeten's Andy Eason had a 4th and a 3rd, good enough for a 3rd overall. No race this coming weekend. Then the series heads for Hollister Hills for the 6th of 8 races. In the mountains of Southern California, about 150 miles east of L.A., lies the normally sleepy town of Adelanto. Last weekend, for the third straight year, the town and a motorcycle club called the Desert Vipers staged the Grand Prix de Adelanto. 250cc motorcycles participate in the race. They start Le Mans style, run to your bike and take off. Also racing Odysseys, quads, three-wheelers, and even sidecars. The course consists of a water hazard, 3 miles of asphalt, a motocross section, and the rest desert. We've seen crashes before, but how about this nearly perfectly executed somersault into the mud? No, this is not something you want to do with your Sunday go-to-meeting clothes. Even spectators don't leave this race without being covered from foot to head. Now, how about reaction to all this from another fan?
What do you think of this race?
Buddy,
It's a good one, though. It's a good one.
by the way, Paul Krause won the 250 expert class. The unlimited cycle winner was Wayne Bodine. But it seems to me that just participating in this makes you a winner.
When we return, off-road in California and Arizona.
And the state of IHRA drag racing. Stay with us.
In 1985, this is where Dodge Daytona won more races than anybody else. This is where Dodge Omni GLH cleaned up, and where Dodge Shelby Charger has done the same. And here, Dodge finished 1, 2, 3 in class. Winning is impressive, but what's more impressive is winning with cars that are essentially the same as the ones you'll find in Dodge showrooms. At Dodge, we're selling performance, and we've got the track record to prove it.
When you take on a road like this, you need all the braking, turning, and all the tire you can get. Now, you've got it. The new Comptier from B.F. Goodrich. The tire that won the U.S. Endurance Cup has actually been improved in the dry and the wet. It's more tire than you'll ever need. On roads like this, it's good to know you have it. The new B.F. Goodrich Comptier, built for you to take on the road.
Just finished my first day at a great new job. You know where I found it? Here, in the National Business Employment Weekly. Every issue tells you about the best jobs available. Managerial, professional, technical. At top companies across the country. Top salaries from $25,000 a year to $250,000. Every issue has articles to help you land a job that's right for you. Writing a better resume. Coming across strong in interviews. Marketing yourself. Then when you get the job you want, articles that help you manage your career, like setting career goals, salary statistics, how to ask for a raise and get it. The National Business Employment Weekly helps you get a great job, helps you do a great job. Don't make a career move without it. Ask for the National Business Employment Weekly at your newsstand, or if you prefer, get the next 8 issues by first-class mail for $35. Call toll-free 800-228-5505. 8 weekly issues, $35. Call 800-228-5505 now.
Unlike other off-road races, the Parker 400 is really 2 events in one. After 110 miles on the California side, the competitors cross the Colorado River for 2 laps around the 95-mile course in Arizona. Mike Botula has more on the Parker 400.
The action starts before dawn as the motorcycles line up to start the Parker 400.
Not the weapons I've seen in here, Parker, in the last 4 or 5 years. It's pretty rough. It'll be good for us on the motorcycle.
Smith and his partner Dan Ashcraft eventually win the motorcycle competition. The green flag waves at first light. The desert quiet is shattered by the roar of engines and the cheers of thousands of fans. Another sign of the growth of off-road racing, more than 400 entries in 28 different categories. The bikes, the 3- and 4-wheel all-terrain vehicles, the ever-popular trucks, and the desert racers. Conditions on both sides of the river are ideal. Temperatures in the 80s, and while the ride is bone-jarring for all of the drivers, most of them complete the race. Tom Koch is the overall winner in a race called Porsche.
It's a new car, so I've never really driven on this course before, but it just worked great all day long. The tires were good, the motor ran great, everything worked perfect, and I didn't have any problems.
Koch's time, 5 hours, 12 minutes, 54 seconds at an average speed of 60.77 miles an hour. A great start for the off-road racing season. This is Mike Botula reporting from Parker, Arizona.
The IROC field has been filled with the naming of Rick Mears, Cale Yarborough, and Klaus Ludwig.
Latest entries for Indy include Al Unser Jr., Dick Simon and his teammate Raul Boisel, and stock walker Steve Chassie.
CART says the total purse for its 17 races this year will be $15.5 million. According to them, the richest in the history of motorsports. Now, this includes CART's estimate the Indy 500 will pay $4 million. The Speedway says that's pure speculation.
The PPG point fund will be $1.2 million, with 20 places being paid this year instead of 10. And the IndyCar race in Montreal will again be held this year at Saint-Lary Speedway.
Michigan International Speedway will be repaved, scheduled to start in April. And there could be a change in qualifying procedure this year on road courses, one car at a time for 3 laps.
If a driver in the American Racing Series can win races at Phoenix, the Meadowlands, and Tamiami Park, the Spanish International Network will pay him a $250,000 bonus.
The Winston West Series will consist of 12 events this year, 2 500-lap races, and a Through the Streets event in Tacoma, Washington.
The drag strip at Bristol International Raceway has been sold. The announcement came from IHRA President Larry Carrier.
This past Monday, I bought the stock and paid off everyone, the Bristol Raceway and the Bristol Dragway. And now I'm the sole owner of the Bristol Raceway. Simultaneously, I sold the Bristol Dragway to Jim Ruth from Moorhead, Kentucky. My primary reason for selling the Dragway was that I didn't feel like that a drag racing sanctioning body should own a racetrack.
Now, concerning IHRA's state of drag racing, why did you eliminate Top Fuel?
We took a survey before we did away with Top Fuel cars, and we found that the interest wasn't there, and so we feel like we proved our survey right.
What improvements and innovations might we see this year to increase speeds?
I think the wind-tunnel testing, onboard computers, this sort of thing should increase the speeds.
Carrier also believes there's room for improvement within his organization.
I think the improvement of the racetracks itself, better restroom facilities, just improvements throughout the racetrack, more seating, and this sort of thing.
What about NHRA? Are they a competitor?
I think anyone that's after the entertainment dollar is a competitor.
But will IHRA continue to work with its rival group to establish a common schedule?
As long as they work with us, we'll work with them to get this done.
For the competitors, I hope that cooperation continues because financially it's really a pretty good deal for the funny car drivers.
And now here's this week's trivia question. This driver hasn't competed in an IndyCar race since he won in his 6th start back in 1982. Was it A, Taylor Fabi, B, John Paul Jr., C, Derek Daly, D, Hector Labate, or E, Al Hilbert? I'll have the answer in a moment.
When you take on the roads of Europe, you're taking on the world's toughest. And when you put on the Euro TA tire from BF Goodrich, you're putting on the tire built to take on those roads. Steering response, lightning quick. Speed rating, H. But you don't have to be over there to know how that tire handles right here in America. The BF Goodrich Euro TA, built for you to take on the road.
When you need tools, any kind of tools, for every kind of job, one name, one place, gives you more good choices than anywhere else.
There's more for your life at Sears.
ESPN's Friday Night Fights deliver again. Fast-rising featherweight Stevie Cruz has a reputation for acts of aggression. Rocky Garcia is a force to be reckoned with, a powder keg who can ignite at any time. Garcia and Cruz, live Friday on Top Rank Boxing.
Explore the vast commercial frontier of space. Watch Space Enterprise, a special Nation's Business Today series, Wednesday on ESPN.
Trivia question, Teo Fabi recorded 4 IndyCar wins before leaving for Europe in 1984. John Paul Jr. won the Michigan 500 in 83 and competed 7 times in 84. Daly and Holbert have never won IndyCar races. D. Hector Rabaki is the answer. He won at Elkhart Lake in 82, but hasn't started a race since then.
The St. Paul Winter Carnival, site of that smashing ice race last week, continued this week with the annual Snowmobile Speed Run Nationals. The speed record was set last year by Marv Jorgensen at 158 miles per hour. Less than perfect ice kept the speed down to 153 this year, but he won again. Riders resembling the Zant Moritz Cresta Run are just the beginning of the exotics growing in the sport. How about Dwight Riegelman? He's thinking 170 miles per hour later this month.
170 on a snowmobile. Next week on SpeedWeek, stock car racing at Daytona and sprint cars in Tampa. I'm Bob Jenkins.
And I'm Larry Newber. We leave you with more of the Grand Prix de Adelanto.
SpeedWeek has been brought to you by B.F. Goodrich TA radios, built for you to take on the road. And by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution. And by Sears. Come celebrate Sears' new century. See all the ways we've changed and all the ways we haven't.
That they do in climbing mountains and doing business, striving to balance good business sense with what makes life good. It wasn't always this way.